one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Welcome into Discover Crypto. I'm your man, the Druth. This is the place with the blockchain basement shares the alpha, but we have some crazy stuff the basement's going to have to go live on this week, but the markets are looking real bad. Bitcoin setting up for a massive dump. Actually just fell below $100,000. We're going to take a look at some key levels, have some charting going on later on in the show, get some bro astrology for you, but also got some serious alpha that's coming out here. So I'm actually really excited about this. If you didn't know, I thrive in chaos. This is how I get low entry points here, folks. And I did get my wonderful Matrix jacket in the mail here. So I'm feeling frisky, feeling wonderful. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. Let's get the ones in the chat. If you're alive, if you feel the blood flowing in your veins, give me a hello. We're looking for $50,000 Bitcoin, $25,000 Bitcoin. Hello, BC Alden. More dump, better, honestly. Right on. Let's go. Ooh. What up, everybody? Give me some hellos. I'm here for you, and I can see you're here for me, and I appreciate you spending your most valuable asset in this planet, which is your time with me on this show. Now, let's get into it. Make sure to follow me on Druth Crypto at X. And also, if you didn't check out my video last night, I gave a pretty awesome roadmap of when to know to get the hell out of the way of altcoin doomsday, right? Now, I'm going to look at the charts here. It may look to some like a doomsday is upon us. It may look to some like the world might just be coming to an end, but I'm here to tell you it's not. These washes, these flushes are healthy for the market. And if this is indeed the beginning of a bear market, I'm a little giddy about that because then I can start shorting Bitcoin and winning Tether, purchasing cheaper Bitcoin all along the way, you guys. We ain't done till we're done. I didn't hear no bell. So make sure to stay tuned and also check out this video here. Did pretty well last night. It's an ultimate altcoin sell video. Let's take a look at these heinous markets. Big pullback this morning. Bitcoin pulled back. Let's just measure it out here. I think pre-market, we were right around this zone. Peak pain, only 3.8%. But we did pop just below the $100,000 mark, coming in at about $99,923 as of recently. And the crazy part about this dump, it's not really any liquidity chase going on here. Look at this. We've pulled over. We can't pull over any farther. There is not much liquidity below us at this point. They have absolutely gutted the leverage positions. And you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I had a position in place earlier this morning. I got stopped out at the entry point of at about $103,300. We got in place on this wick, just on the liquidation wick, and then it pumped up to here. I was able to set the entry point in profit. It washed back down while I was eating a burrito. No biggie. I got my Tether. I live to trade another day. Now let's get into the stories. But first, we got to look at the scariest part of this. Ugh. Ugh. Getting me all verklempt. Look at that coin market cap looking gruesome. So Internet Computer Token, so we know it's crime season. It's up 44% at $5.66. Took them a couple years to get back on their feet, but there they go. SPX 6900 down 41% on the week, continuing its death spiral. But Tensor Tau falling all the way back down to $400. Honestly, not really a massive pullback. Aerodrome breaking below 80 cents. Morpho breaking below that $1.80, $1.90 spot it was at, down 9% on the day. And Aptos, oh my God, it is in the $2 range. Caspa as well. And Ethereum coming in at $3,300, right? So a lot of people are on edge. A lot of people are hitting extreme fear levels right now. The fear and greed index coming right in at about a 27 right now. We're not quite to extreme fear and greed, but this is a pretty damn good washout. This is a very, very strong shot across the bow for retail investors that are shell-shocked by the volatility of the market. But volatility is the price we pay for performance, folks. Now, let's look at all the action, all the moving averages. We're going to have some charting going on later in the show as well, but this is from Wolf of Wall Street. I think we covered this morning, just highlighting the 50 MA moving as support 4 times in history. Every single time, price went on to test the 200 MA, right below us down there. Currently, the price is $700 above the 50 MA, and this was made when we were actually above the 50 MA. We have now broken down below the 50 MA, and that 200 MA coming in right at about $55,000. So, you know what? It's a time where, god damn, I would love some cheaper Bitcoin. If we get it, taking advantage of it. If we don't, I'm in position, right? Did my co-host join the Marines? No, he joined the Army. And God bless Isaac. God bless Isaac on his new adventure. I think he's got a new squeeze on there. It's so cool seeing that kid grow up into the man he has become. And now he's out serving this country, very, very base. Now, this is insane to see the market pulling back the way that it is right now. Bitcoin falling off a cliff, all right after we had what was thought to be pretty damn bullish news come out. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the U.S. and China trade relationship is now in a good place. Crypto bros responding what women think men want and what men really want. Trump actually getting along with China. But it's kind of sketchy when the bullish trade news is not enough to pump up the markets, right? We got to think about that. What up from India? Shout out to you. Trading. What an original name there. Now, let's look at this from Alex Wassi. Massive Bitcoin rally since March 2023. Started from the blue line. We're back at that blue line again. But if this week closes below $103,000, he's thinking the cycle might be over. And the structure of the 4-year cycle would remain intact. The crazy thing about saying that the structure of the 4-year cycle is still intact if this is the end is that that also is incorrect, because this market didn't come anywhere close to the fib performance of 4-year cycle performance in the past. And we've had a lot of structural differences. The first time that I felt weird about this market was the ranging at previous all-time highs for just under 300 days. And then finding that massive, massive resistance within this 1 to 1.618 Fibonacci zone. So if this is the top, structurally, it's quite different, but the time frame would remain the same, right? Just the upside performance of Bitcoin would have been diminished greatly, which is wild for me to think about happening while we have the likes of BlackRock and the U.S. government and all these different organizations and entities being bullish on Bitcoin, yet price peters out like a limp dick in the night, right? That just doesn't make very much sense to me. So we'll see if this actually continues to unfold to the downside. We do have to keep in mind on Bitcoin price, you know, it is worth noting in this time frame, you guys, that there is still that CME gap that is at $92,000. Going to go ahead and mark that out for us right now. Right there. So $92,000 essentially is where that CME gap does remain. And it is notable that since the ETFs of US spot markets have opened up, CME gaps have basically filled every single one except for this $92,000 death spiral, right? And now thinking about this, it's not out of the conversation to have happened. From that local top that we just experienced a few weeks ago, we have fallen by 21%. But stay based, kings and queens, because throughout bull markets of the history of Bitcoin's past, we absolutely have seen 30% pullbacks on the way up, right? We see one here. Also highlight this guy right here. Another 27% right there. And then the massive fall off, 54%, right? So massive, massive pullbacks have happened during Bitcoin's bull markets of past. Right now, feels like but a scratch. Feels like but a scratch. I'm not too worried. And if I do get to see this market roll over and break below that $90,000 threshold, well, then guess what? I get a print tether and buy cheaper Bitcoin trading. And this is a great word, great note from Follis. Survival mode, capital preservation mode, live to fight another day mode. As long as you still have capital left, you can make it all back. If you get down, if you get knocked down, stand back up again until death. All defeat is psychological. Very based take from Follis. Fantastic work, fantastic mindset. That's the mindset of a winner. And I absolutely have that mindset. And I kind of explained at the beginning of the show, it's like I get in position for the trade, have my ideas, but I still use a damn stop loss because everything went to hell in a handbasket. The trade did not go my way. And I didn't feel it. I was at lunch eating a burrito, got hit with the stop loss, being hit at entry point, and now I live to trade another day. So please do keep this in mind if you're out there leverage trading with us. Now, I know things are heavy. I know it's a little bit wild, right? It's getting me hot. It's time to show me your dog. Now, I asked people on Twitter to show me their dog. Kelly Kellum shared his picture, his dog mauling him in front of the. I did not eat Chipotle. Hold on.
You are banned.
Not eat Chipotle. Where are you? Where are you at? Brandon, you're a top chatter? Not anymore. Got it. All right. Show me your dog compilation here. Now, this is Wolf of Wamea's little bratwurst, German Shepherd Wiener dog. We got CC Crypto Catch with this pug named Max. Look at this little guy. Oh, yeah. Best friend he could ever have. Look at that. The loving eyes. This is they don't care what your crypto bags are doing. As long as there's kibble in the pantry. The girls. We got, this is a German Shepherd. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, is this a cattle dog? It kind of looks like a cattle dog. This is American. Shout out to you, brother. Good seeing you here. Crypto Princess, you got a cat. Okay, and that's the problem here. There's Richard Burnett's dogs. We got Patriot Caveman. Good to see you at church this week, my man. Oh, God, Steve and his nuggets. Look at these dogs. I mean, I just love dogs. I love dogs. And I absolutely love going through these pictures. This little boy kind of looks like my dog a little bit. Oh, this is the goodest boy. Look at the love in his eyes. Is this guy drunk? No. I can't believe how many people think that I am drunk all the time. Like, I don't even drink. Maybe I should take up drinking. Maybe I should take up drinking, buddy. I am drunk on power and life. Because I can ban people. In fact, you know what?
You are banned.
There we go. I'm drunk on power. I'm drunk. You were right. I'm drunk on power. Now it's election day. And the spiciness continues. Suspects identified in the Dearborn, Michigan terror plot. Muhammad Ali and Majed Mahmoud accused of stockpiling weapons for ISIS-inspired attack, according to the FBI affidavit. And also bomb threats across New Jersey polling locations, forcing some sites to evacuate. Oh, that sounds like a wonderful republic we got going on. And now Trump with the communist candidate Zoran Mandamni update. If he wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than very minimum required to my beloved first home. Fucking crazy. Because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm, and I don't want to send as president good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster. Should Madamni win, his principles have even tested for over 1,000 years, and never once have they been successful. I would much rather see a Democrat who has a record of success win, and that's a very, very reasonable take. Rather see a Democrat that's opposing Trump, maybe a never-Trumper, but actually has shown success, win in New York. Communist with no experience and a record of complete and total failure as nothing but an assemblyman ranked at the bottom class and a mayor of potentially, again, the greatest city of the world. And that is a major fact. New York is a financial hub of the planet. Absolutely crazy to think that a socialist could win. It has no chance to bring back its former glory. We must also remember this: a vote for Curtis Swilla, who looks much better without the beret, is a vote for Madamni. Whether you personally like Andrew Cuomo or not, you really have no choice. You must vote for him, and hope he does a fantastic job. He's capable of it. Mamdani is not. Now, that is a tough situation, right? Cuomo is not very highly ranked in my book, I would say, and that's kind of an understatement. Seeing the potential that a literal outward socialist is going to win mayor of New York, even with all of the pain that New Yorkers have gone through over the past, say decade under these insane governing principles, leads you to wonder, let's say the New Yorkers need to flee, right? And sure, you can have moderate liberals, right, that want to flee New York and go to cheaper locations, Connecticut, Georgia, even my state, or Florida, but they still bring their voting principles with them. They don't let go of those democratic voting intentions. I've seen it firsthand in Colorado with a massive influx of liberals from California that absolutely swarmed Colorado and changed its political landscape, in my opinion, for at least the next decade or two. It is something that I've experienced. I would not like to see happen to other states that are adjacent to New York, or options for you New Yorkers to flee to. If you are in New York and you need to leave because of how insane this liberal agenda has been to you, please do not take your voting intentions with you. Change your mindset. Be open to new ideas. For God's sakes, stop doing the same thing and expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. Now, as I said, it is election day. I do implore you all to go out there and make your voices heard. Here in the United States, we have elections on a municipal level, a local level, that are very, very important. Even in the rural area that I live in, they're trying to have a DEI hire come in and take over the city where I live, literally in the sticks near Alabama, praying to God and voting with God in my heart that this will not happen, but we have to make sure our voices are heard. Now, as you see, a historic Fed bailout has begun, folks. The danger is real. The Federal Reserve feels it, and you can see it on the face of Jerome Powell on thumbnail today for the show. And I want to go through some, you guys are talking about XRP. Is Pepe? Ooh, Pepe. So my the server at my Mexican restaurant that I just had a fantastic smothered burrito from, his name was Pepe. Maybe that's bullish for Pepe. Potentially. Maybe my server Pepe is marking the bottom for Pepe. Are they trying to redistrict everywhere or just California? They're trying to redistrict all over the damn country. They're trying to redistrict all over the damn country. So DEI, total lunacy. From CT, totally agree. Good to see you, Jaeger. Insane for continue. Am I insane for? I am arguably a little insane. I've heard people call me insane enough where maybe there's a little bit of it, but you know what? Insane make insane moves to the upside and sometimes to the downside, right? But that's why stop losses are my friend, because I'm a little bit insane on the blockchain. Now let's get into the mystery behind the Fed. The Federal Reserve has just pumped another $24 billion into the U.S. banking system through overnight repos, and $125 billion over the last 5 days, amid fears of a liquidity crisis. Now, this amount far surpasses even the peak of the dot-com bubble. Things are getting a little bit spicy, and that is a major, major understatement. And it's shown on this graph here. Massive, massive impulses of Federal Reserve repo markets coming in and essentially injecting tons of money in the middle of the night to these banks to stay afloat. Now, I think this is a valid time, because I believe we have a lot of new names in here. I'm not recognizing a lot of you. So we got to go to my favorite chart in crypto. Now, why I got into crypto is for control. Why I got into crypto is so that I wouldn't be susceptible to bank bail-ins, where a bank can get so overextended, so irresponsible, that they go into my bank account and take my money to fix their problem. Now let's go to my favorite chart in crypto to check it out. What are the losses looking like right now? Let's scoot on down. This is the FDIC website, FDIC.gov. Ooh, this is a bad sign. Quarterly credit loss provisions are really, really starting to spike. And here's the unrealized gains and losses on investment securities. Now, I've covered this ad nauseum for the people that followed me in the past, but basically, the government has continually scammed everybody by considering commercial real estate locations these banks hold at valuations that are nearly a decade in the past. These commercial real estate securities are being sold for nickels or dimes on the dollar by banks that are capitulating these things off of their balance sheets, causing a massive, massive mountain of unrealized losses for the banking infrastructure in general, which makes the 2008 financial crisis look like a fun stroll around the park. Now, also, delinquency rates on commercial mortgage-backed securities for offices surged 63 base points in October to a record 11.8%. Jesus. This is now a full percentage point above the post-financial 2008 financial crisis at a peak of 10.7%. Just to put things into perspective for you, since October 2022, the CMBS delinquency rate has skyrocketed 10 percentage points. At the same time, the delinquency rate for multifamily CMBS jumped 53 basis points to 7.1%, the highest since December 2015. The overall U.S. delinquency rates on these locations rose by 23 basis points to 7.4%, highest rate in the last 4 years. So this is a visualization of it. The oil bust, the financial crisis. We are way, way deeper in a pile of shit than really we ever have been as a country. Now, if the U.S. economy, the banking infrastructure collapses, so does the vast majority of the world, right? A lot of the world is reliant on the U.S. dollar for their valuation holding. And I doubt that the Federal Reserve is going to allow this to happen, right? They're probably going to inject a disgusting amount of liquidity to put a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. I want to check out this. Thanks for the super chat. 1141 AJ, is it time to long some Link? Will it drop 12? I mean, if it drops 12, I'm buying spot. And I'm a rare buyer of Chainlink because I believed in it for so long. But if I see Chainlink anywhere near that $10 mark, we're getting kind of close right now at like 14 bucks. But I have no problem hammering into Link. And I'll show you a little bit of extra news. Obviously, SmartCon is going on today. We all know, I mean, AWS is kind of behind the backing for SmartCon and Chainlink's release out there. Tiny company, right? AWS, no one knows of it. It's just the literal spot where the entire internet operates off of Amazon Web Services. Just a tiny company that's interested in being involved with SmartCon. But let's get into the next stories here. From Perplexity Finance, the Big Short bet against Palantir and NVIDIA. Michael Burry's Scion Asset Management's latest 13F disclosure shows an extreme bearish concentration. The hedge fund has concentrated 80% of its $1.38 billion portfolio into put options on Palantir and NVIDIA. Portfolio breakdown, the notional value is at 1.38 bill, up 139% from Q2's 578 mil. So doing pretty damn good for himself. Palantir puts $912 million worth, 66% of that portfolio. A big, big bet against Palantir. 5 million put contracts. NVIDIA puts $187 million worth, 13.5% of his portfolio, and 1 million put contracts. These combine to about 1.1 billion, 80% of his whole stack, and both companies are positioned to benefit from current administration priorities. Yet Burry's thesis appears to be valuations are so extreme, even favorable policies can't justify the current prices. Now, it's an insane time. I almost felt like renaming the channel, the show today, to Discover Therapy, right? We were kind of joking about it, but leaning into the chaos, understanding the chaos, and moving forward through it is how I've taken control and been able to actually take an insane amount of profits. Even at the time, it felt wrong. It felt like I was selling early, right? But now that all this dust is settled, I mean, Bitcoin and Tether and Chainlink are very much so my favorite crypto projects for sure. Now, talking about burying this Palantir move, Palantir stock erased all of its gains, falling 5% in overnight trading after reporting Q3 2025 earnings. The stock just swung from 7% up to 5% down, moving over $60 billion worth of market cap, which is absolutely insane, especially with a company that's got government contracts. We got to go check Palantir out. We got to go check PLNTR out, guys. We do. I know. Let's see here. Where is this one? So PLTR. Duh. All right, let's go. Let's go check it out. Let's see what the pain is. Oh yeah, still down. And the S&P 500 opened with that gap to the downside as well. Palantir 190. God, last time I was looking at this stock price in specific, it was like $100. I was trying to get the $124 spot and never hit. I actually kind of got to back this up now. All right, good God. I can see where Burry's thesis comes in. Look at this chart. I can see where his thesis of shorting this thing. You know what? And you got to risk it for the biscuit. Right? The guy became a legend in the financial crisis, and he's got a giant bag. He's taking a bet against the hypervaluations that are on the stock market. You risk it for the biscuit. You absolutely risk it for the biscuit. Let's see. I want to go through the chat here. And tell me in the chat, what is your biggest bag, right? I want to know what your biggest bag is in crypto, right? Is it Bitcoin? Is it Chainlink? I see some Chainlink big bags in there. Is it Cardano? Let me know in the chat what your biggest bag is, maybe the most common one. If it's outside of my general usual wheelhouse, I'll go look at it, see if there's any hope of finding some relief in this massive sell-off here. Now, let's keep moving. We got a lot of ground to cover. I'm feeling spicy. I got to kind of delete all these other tabs too. I got so many tabs because I stay up all night. I wake up early in the morning and I stay focused on this market for you guys. I care. All right, what do we got? I got to go ADA, Morpho, ADA, Arrow, then BTC, Chainlink, Sol, XRP, Tau. Woo, Tau Pesh. Look at that profile picture. That's a face not even a mother couldn't love. ADA, VAR. What the hell's VAR? What are you doing? Walrus, Layer 0, Bitcoin, Arrow, Link, Bitcoin, Arrow, ETH, BTC. Of course it is, you fucking based savage. You got it. Link, ETH, 6 billion, baby. BTC and ETH. All right. Good to know. So I do see a lot of ADA. Purple Pepe. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute.
You are banned!
Get him. Got another one. Hold on. God, he's disappearing on me so fast. Don't you go nowhere. Stay still. Hold on. There we go. All right. Next story. Breaking gold funds posted a record $7.5 billion in net outflows as well this week as investors took profits following gold's historic rally. This came after the record $8.5 billion inflow in the prior week. Overall, gold funds attracted a massive $59 billion over the prior 4-month period. Still in Q3 of 2025, ETF gold demand spiked by 134% year over year and 220 tons, the second highest reading since Q1 of 2021. Year to date, ETF demand has reached 619 tons, on pace for the strongest year since 2020. Gold flows are swinging at historic magnitudes. Now, there is something that we need to address on the gold chart as well, folks. So, I've been pining and complaining about us being actually in stagflation for like 2 years now. And I'm a little aggravated now that these PhD economists are finally starting to admit it. And now people are taking it seriously. Obviously, they're not watching the channels that I do here, but it is what it is. That's why I need you to share this show. I need you to like and share the show so more people get this information years ahead of time. Because I've been complaining about this for 2 years. Basically, what we just saw with gold is a stagflationary blow off top. And now these are weekly candles, and gold, it had a consolidation moment here at about $3,300, right? A little bit of consolidation, basically building up a bull flag of all bull flags, and then pumped up to $4,400. Since that time frame, it has pulled back by 11%. Now, not too crazy, but the scary part about this is when you look at the historic movement of what gold did last time we had stagflation. So same general bull flag buildup. These are on monthly. It would look the same if it was on the weekly. We may as well pull up the weekly so I can show you the similarities there. Where'd it go? All right. So where'd you go? Or here it is. So this bull flag was formed in 1979 when stagflation was starting to be realized by the smart people in the markets. And then it explodes to the upside as the people who read headlines start to parrot that same narrative. Now, the US, in my opinion, is still indeed in stagflation. But what happened here after the blow off top is a mega bear market for gold that lasted for a very long time. Look how long it took gold to reclaim new juice and move back up to the upside from this low. So essentially, 8,428 days. A very, very long time that it took gold until you had the spot gold ETF release here in the United States. And arguably that kickstarted the next run up that we are now experiencing. And when you look at this, it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. So if history repeats itself, we'd be looking at something like this, where gold comes back down, right there. Maybe the stopping point is 3,300, but it actually kind of looks like it's 26. And then a little bit of a fake out, hit that zone, and then just flow for a few years, right? And yes, you hear that, a few years. Last time that gold had this blow off top moment, it took 8,000, nearly 500 days for it to reclaim the movement once again. And unfortunately, we're going into the great unknown where it is undeniable Bitcoin has never existed in stagflation in the United States. 100%. I absolutely acknowledge that. My thesis is that people are going to acknowledge the sovereignty aspect of Bitcoin, the size of the network, and the fact that communication, commerce has now largely moved online, thus giving Bitcoin as an online form of person-to-person payment or a blockchain payment system a very, very interesting position for what we are going through right now. It will be undetermined how this ends up, but it is my opinion that Bitcoin is going to benefit from this massive, massive change. The economical and political state of the world right now is cooked. I completely agree with you, Osama. Osama bin Laden, good to see you. Okay, good to see you. Absolutely. Why is ICP pumping? I think we had some ICP news go on. Honestly, like the amount of canister usage is really quite aggravating for me in ICP. Now, it is something that I've gone in and out of and made really, really good gains going in and out of ICP. But let's actually pull it up. So it's number 31 right now. It's up 50% on the week. And okay. And so this is the real tale there. So a lot of ground to make up. Now, even this move was really, really fun for me. I snagged it like $3 and G did for 16.50. So I didn't catch the Pico top. It hit $21 in that run. It's been very, very quiet, very, very slow into the downside. But you know what? If I could see the price action come back down into like the low fives, high fours, and volume spike, I want to see a volume spike and see that price come back down into the bottom end of this channel. Then maybe I'll speculate on the vaporware once again. And yeah, I'm going to cheat it when I see it pumping like it did last time, right? No problem that I do not marry any altcoin. I'm slightly married. I'm in a situationship with Chainlink. I got to admit, I'm in a situationship with Chainlink for sure. Now, this time frame, it's time to speculate on alts. It really does feel like that time to speculate on alts for me, just in what's going on. Chainlink and SmartCon going on right now. NASDAQ bonds trade web now connecting Chainlink's data link, bringing verified market data from trillions in daily trading and volume on chain. This is going on right now, being revealed at SmartCon. And we also had this news: Chainlink partnered up with FTSE Russell to bring major global indices on chain for the first time via data link. Now, I do want to go, well, maybe we're not ready for it yet. Maybe we're not ready for it yet. I'll save this crazy thing we stumbled upon. Shout out to Veteran Crypto. Also, if you're not following Veteran Crypto, you're doing yourself a disservice. He's one of the real ones out there. But what do you guys see here? Is this a chicken, a bird? I see a turtle. Okay. I see a turtle. I want to know if this any way, shape, or form resembles a chicken or a bird to you. Knowledge Bank bringing this up. I don't know where they got a chicken or a bird from. This absolutely looks like a turtle to me. That's my own personal opinion. Now, we talk about, turtle. I knew it. I'm not crazy. I'm not completely crazy. This last washout of $19 billion from the biggest exchange on the planet, pulling liquidity at peak trading hours, causing Bitcoin to go down to 101. Altcoins, Chainlink went down to like $8 in that liquidity event. I think it was October 10th. But let's talk about this just a little bit. Let's explain how Binance and Wintermute F's the entire market. Now, in the past 30 days alone, $34 billion traded between the two, Wintermute and Binance, that is. Binance sends 10 to $100 million chunks of Bitcoin, ETH, Solana to Wintermute wallets hours before every major dump. Wintermute then market sells Binance, triggering cascading liquidations. October 10th flash crash playbook repeated 4 times in 2025. 4 p.m. UTC, Wintermute receives $70 million from Binance. 4:30 UTC, spot sell walls appear on every single pair. And at 5 p.m. East or UTC, $19 billion in longs liquidated in the span of 90 minutes, right? 6 p.m. UTC, Wintermute buys back at a 30% discount. Oh, must be nice. And Binance pockets the funding rate fees. Wintermute pockets the spread. Today, same script. And this was written. It was coming. I saw it. Felt so sketchy about it. And it's just a rinse and repeat process, right? So now we see the need, we see the interest, we see the use case for blockchain, and we see major corporations interested, but also the crypto structure framework, the regulatory framework for how the crypto markets are going to be able to operate here in the United States is going to be voted on at the end of this month, end of November. And seeing what's going on in the exchange Wintermute relationship right now leads me to believe that there is going to be a very ugly, large hammer coming down with a violent force. Now, this can happen one of two ways, where a shock to the entire system and the government basically goes, full DOJ shutdown, or it could be a situation where they basically reorganize the power structure quietly in the background by taking piece by piece out, right? I see a lot of people bringing up VeChain. Is VeChain finally pumping as well? Do I need to look at VeChain, chat? Should I look at VeChain? I'm curious. It's been a while since I've heard people bringing up VeChain. This is also notable and very interesting to me that Hyperliquid is now tradable on Coinbase. Hyperliquid now trading on Coinbase. Aerodrome also making it available here, and it's all arriving on Base powered by Wormhole. Hype Wrapped ETH pool is ready to swap liquidity pools eligible to receive Aero emissions, and emissions are live. This is very, very bullish for, in my opinion, Hyperliquid and Aerodrome. The Base network, the ecosystem of Base is already being valued at $34 billion by JP Morgan. And JP Morgan is kind of a big company to be making those kind of claims. So I am looking at really the Base network the most out of any altcoin industry. Let's see here. No, just one guy. Deucey does crypto. Now, and before we get, I got a buddy coming up on here. You know him well, but we got to just do a quick little highlight. rwa.xyz is an important website to use. Higher yields, Mika traction. This is the regulatory framework of EU. And blue chip issuers have turned tokenization from pilots into products. There's something kind of crazy going on that I have a deep dive video coming out very shortly on. Veteran Crypto and the DeFi Crypto Airdrops YouTube are coming out tonight with a very, very interesting video diving into a project where the token is not even available for trading yet, but this guy is based. And here's how based Veteran Crypto is. And mind you, he started damn near XRP Maxi, but he's been digging and pulling back the layers of the onion for, I feel like, years now. You want to know why Ripple spent hundreds of millions of dollars fighting the SEC? They didn't want XRP to be a security. XRP would have become a stock of Ripple, and the holders would have an actual stake in Ripple. Now, they can continue to sell the XRP to fund the growth of Ripple with no legal or financial obligation to the holders. Savage take, base take. Make sure to follow DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. And now, without further ado, my brother from another mother, Kelly Kellum, how are you doing? Ooh, we got Aaron up on the thing here. There we go. Add you to the stage here. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
You know, it's a hard day. It's a hard day when you're seeing this market just absolutely melt down like it is. But hey, man, I'm excited about it. This is turning me on. These pretzels are making me thirsty. Okay. When we look at this, man, I don't want to, I'm putting my neck on the line here, but this is so exciting to me to see this happen. I know you talked about it a bit. What's your take on today's market blood, and then I'll take it from there with a couple charts.
Yeah, I mean, the market blood, it's a shotgun shell to the average retail investor that is now shell shocked, afraid to invest. Meanwhile, even new RWA projects are putting up. I mean, we found one that's got like $6 trillion moving into it on chain. The world is changing at a very fast pace. I don't think BlackRock, Blackstone, JP Morgan, any of these massive organizations that are behind what's being built want retail to be connected to the side of the ship. And this is what we're seeing is them shake off. But also, it was telegraphed, Kelly. It was absolutely telegraphed with the Wintermute movements. This Wintermute highlight, you weren't here when I was covering this, but Wintermute received at 4 to 18 UTC. Right there. Wintermute received a giant bag from Binance, and now we have a dump, right? So it's a rinse and repeat process. It does make me wonder about the regulatory clarity and if that clarity is just a uppercut to some of the most powerful exchanges on the planet right now.
But you know what Wintermute did? Binance sent some funds to Wintermute. They dumped, and you know what happened when that happened? Look, all it did was send Bitcoin where into the gift from God buy zone that I've had on the charts for months. So looking at the charts over a long period of time, estimating some ideas about where liquidity is from previous price action, where there's some key support and resistances, where there's going to be psychological levels. I've had this marked out, and up here it didn't feel as kind of, and I even mentioned it. I was like, maybe we're not going to get that. Much like we saw with the October 10th washout that gave that flush down into that washout zone that we had marked out on the others chart. Same thing. The market, all we had to do is be patient, and now it's scary. But in reality, this has just come down and tapped into that. We've had this for, look at this. This is November 1st, 4th. No, this is June 12th is when we had this this marked out. This is when price had yet to even break out of this. And, I said, maybe it's not going to hit. Well, here we are hitting it, but there's other things as well. I mean, guys, we have the fear and greed. Now, I am not going to say it absolutely has to be bullish here. I just have the context of the bullish divergence of fundamentals that are so bullish that I think we are in the make or break it stage in this next couple weeks into basically into the end of this month. I said last week, I think sometime in 9 to 14 days, we're going to get a direction. Well, we're coming into crunch time right now. And so what we're seeing is the fear and greed. Look, 21, that marked the bottom. 22, that marked the bottom. 24, that marked that bottom. We've now had several little orange dots here in the extreme fear. 21. Now, again, this doesn't mean this is going to absolutely crush to the upside here, because the debate is whether or not this is a top rolling over. Maybe we get a bounce with the lower high and it breaks down, as I highlight here, basically in the considerations, or if this actually does break to the upside. But we're in the middle of that crunch time as we speak. And this is what it feels like every day. Kelly comes on here and he's bullish, and it's like, all right, 0 days since I lost an S load of money. This is the markets remaining irrational longer than most people can remain solvent. But then you look here, Bitcoin just filled the Binance wick. So, okay, price has dropped, but what does Piano Matty B say for the last 3 years? Where it wicks, it will likely candlestick. And so is this just partially also filling out some of the liquidity in this area that just flash crashed down? I mean, all these different signals are lining up at the same time. Similarly, we're seeing the price action where institutions are looking at a little bit more traditional aspects here. Great buy zone in the zone, boom, buy. Great buy zone in the zone, traditional, all these institutions coming in, boom, launch. Great buy zone, institutions launch. Here we are yet again. And again, because we're getting this rounding top, because there are bearish divergences all the way back here since March of last year, there are reasons to be concerned that the top is in and we could break down. But then you go back to the context of the market and you understand that, they highlighted this in the morning, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Everybody loses their mind on this 1 step back. And then massive steps forward, 1 step back, massive step forward, 1 step. It's just continue rinsing and repeating. And then the last thing I wanted to share here, we'll get back into discussion, is that people are screaming top, and Bitcoin hasn't even crossed the 350-day moving average. And looking at this is a 350-day times 2, actually. But we notice we get above this, find support, and go into a parabolic move. We get above this, find support, and we went from about $17,000 to $65,000. Same thing happened back here twice in 2013. So what are we doing here? We've only gotten rejected at this, never even danced above those upper bounds. So I'm still bullish, and we can get into this one here in a second. But I'm bullish, especially with the pressure on the banks, especially with another FOMC meeting coming up, especially with the fact that the government shutdown is causing more pressure in liquidity. And today's election day. So it's my opinion. Maybe I'm a blind bull that we're going to see some resolution that's going to quell the fears for some of the people that are still in, and other people that are out are going to be upset.
I just want to make sure communism doesn't have any chance to live in America, right? Now, I want to see your opinion on VeChain. People are in the chat acting like VeChain has gone to the moon. Juicy's left behind. He's never going to make it because he didn't buy VeChain. What are we dealing with on VeChain right now?
You say it's gone to the moon?
I mean, they're acting like it. Let's see what the chart looks like. I want to see what the hopium's coming from. Okay. Wait a minute.
This is a 5-minute chart. Let's look at it on the 1 hour. Oh, bleeding. Let's look at it on the 12 hour. Oh, bleeding. Let's look at it on the daily. There's nothing in this that looks like a setup. Now let's look at it with data though. We don't want to just look at price. Okay. Is there a bit of there's a bit of a bullish divergence here coming across. We're having higher lows throughout, bullish divergence on the money flow as well. So there is a setup that could be forming here. This is on the 1 hour chart. But yeah, I mean, again, it's not just, I don't want to hate on VeChain because it's not just VeChain. I mean, you see down, look at Bitcoin. You also see down. Let's look at Ethereum. Okay. Also see the market is in a sort of contentious sell-off setup right now.
This is a likely bounce spot for ETH. It looks like. Look at that. It's
right. And look, broader bull div coming across. Also with the money flow, a link. Also flat RSI lows here with this going much lower. We very well could be setting up a bounce. The question is going to be, if we get a bounce, is it going to be a bounce that sets up, for instance, everybody's going to see this and go, it's back. But if we come up here and get rejected, no, that's a further confirmation. We're going to be stair-stepping to the downside. So we need to watch on whatever bounce we get that it breaks beyond really, I would say 116, 118,000. This zone right here, and find support above that for a continuation.
Okay. Now, God, I wish I had my deport button.
Dude, Mom Donnie owns us both.
You are banned.
There you go. I wish I had my deport button.
Is that because he's an elite person that comes from a rich family and he's owning stuff as an autocrat? Is that what you
No
mean?
communist is going to own me, an American, right? There is nope. Now let's keep talking crypto though. So
crypto.
I understand what you mean about, and bring your dog up here. So we go up, we get rejected, watching out for further downturn. There is a lot of pain, especially happening to altcoins right now. God, you're distracting me with the cutest little pupper I've seen. And shout out to 6,000 people are looking at the most gorgeous little dog I've ever seen. Let's go to others, Kelly. Let's go to others and see this box that you've had marked out for some time, because it filled the bottom of the box on that flash wick really concisely. Are we going deeper into that red box, does it look like right now? Or because the last one we fell down and then very sharply reversed out of it, right?
Well, here's back in 2019, 2020. COVID crash. Boom, boom. We had this box drawn out way over here. And I said, I'm not sure if this is going to fill. Then we got the flash crash, and look at this. It filled almost perfectly. So the question is going to be, and I've talked about this, are we going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 is, let me go up to this. Hold on a second. Where is the object tree? There we go. Are we going to get, where the hell did it go?
What are you looking for?
Object tree. Oh, here we go. Are we going to get this? Are we going to get this? Are we going to get this? Or are you super bearish and you think it's all done for alts while the world financial layers are integrating into the crypto ecosystem?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be somewhere in this region here.
We had
in terms of this
2.5.
market. Yeah, but it's going to take some time through 2026 that then we also get that pump to the upside.
There's many people in the chat that think we're flat out looking at a 5 or even worse. Let us know in the chat. What do you think? Are we going to hell in a handbasket with that 5 move to the downturn? Slight move up in general, just continued upswing with the 4. 3, some fun there, but not as fun as we're hoping for. 2, extra fun. And then 1, you just can't even see. Whichever is aimed at. Okay. I see what you're doing here. Now, it is a time where there's a lot of fear out there. I completely understand. We highlighted there's a $92,000 CME gap as well. Show them what happened to the SPX this morning, because this is actually one of the sketchier things to think about and kind of a better conversation on if there's going to be a crypto turn at massive blow off top to the upside, because we've been watching Wall Street absolutely rip, and it opened up kind of weird today.
Yeah, it opened up down here. It opened up at the bottom of this. So we opened up with a gap down, which was about 1% gap down. The price then pushed up and did what? It came and filled the gap. Where's the gap? The gap's to right there, right? The previous range low. So it came up, filled the gap, and it now is looking a little precarious. And this is a little troublesome because we've seen that massive divergence of the way equities and stock market has been just absolutely ripping while Bitcoin's been flat. If S&P 500 and the stock market also starts to roll over pretty massively, and Bitcoin was flat when it was absolutely rocketing, what do you think might happen if the stock market also starts to see a downturn? Does Bitcoin still stay flat? Does it fall further? Because I mean, if there was that much bullishness in the market, but Bitcoin was only able to stay flat in that $110,000 to $120,000 region, if the risk really gets sucked out of the market, this appetite for risk, I think we might see a bit more bearishness than I think I would hope, or what I've been looking for in the charts.
Right. It's a scary market out there. I get it why people are worried. Honestly, I internally am very hopeful that I can just start shorting the market with confidence, get that clear signal you were talking about, where we come up to a failed move and really start falling. The reason why is if you're shorting Bitcoin, you're winning tether as the price of Bitcoin is going down. So your gains, if you're buying Bitcoin with that, upside, from those short positions, you're able to grab Bitcoin at an exponentially higher rate, especially in bear markets when they actually do. So I'm going to watch out if we do get kind of that confirmation of a bear move. Now, this is Bitcoin dominance, kind of looking a little bit scary for alts. Can you kind of explain what's going on Bitcoin dominance right now, Kelly?
Yeah, Bitcoin dominance, the amount of capital in the entire crypto ecosystem. Of every dollar that's in the crypto ecosystem, what percentage of that is Bitcoin? That's what you're looking at when you're looking at Bitcoin dominance. And in this case, if this is rising, then that also means that either Bitcoin's moving up a lot faster than all these alts, or it's not falling nearly as fast as a lot of these alts because it's maintaining a higher percentage of the total market cap. And so when this is pushing up as it is, this is showing stress in the altcoin ecosystem. So when you come over here and you look at total 2, for instance, this is everything except for Bitcoin. Inverse relationship. This is dropping while the Bitcoin dominance is moving up. And this has been telegraphing that, just looking weak as it can be, having that rounding ugly top like that.
Yeah.
Lower low, lower high, boom. Textbook case. We're in the throes of battling being married to being a bull versus being scared of the 4-year cycle versus the liquidity says it should come because of So I think it's a little bit of a chop zone here. But I still think we got more.
Listen, if it was easy, everyone would do it. There'd be no massive upside, right? We're digesting macroeconomic information that is only now being admitted that we've been front running for years now. It's not that I didn't know stagflation was coming. What I'm most interested in is how Bitcoin acts as stagflation is fully realized and the banking infrastructure, receives its liquidity injections. Does that money flow downhill? Do they go into Bitcoin? All of those things So it is interesting to think about. My heart wants the things to go up, but we are in Thunderdome right now. There's a $92,000 CME gap. And honestly, if I see that failed move on Bitcoin price, I'm going to be shorting Bitcoin, gaining Tether, and buying more Bitcoin all the way down and into the bear market. And another reason, not just because of the video that Vet's coming out with tonight, you guys, but also because DeFi is our superpower in bear markets. Getting involved and understanding the mechanics of DeFi and earning yield while the market is very flat, very unexciting, very boring, it creates a very understandable range that you can set your pools at and earn yield all along the way, continuing to stack, continuing to compound your value. You'd be in Tether, many different coins. If you have a high risk appetite, I know people go out there and they grab more and more ICP constantly. I'm not like that. I love Tether. I love Bitcoin. I love Chainlink, right? But it's a time of insanity right now, Kelly. It really is. People's fear in the chat seem at all-time highs. On the charts, they don't look like we're in extreme fear right now. And this is the sentiment. This is actually quite fascinating. Why don't you go over this? You gave a little poll out last night.
Well, I mean, it's not easy. From analysts to traders to newcomers to old heads, OGs. I asked this last night. What's your conviction on a crypto pump by the end of the year? And it's basically an even split with some small standard deviations of errors, but it's going to happen. It's certain that it's going to happen. 35%. It might happen. I wanted to. I'm a little scared. 34.4%. Top is already in 29.8%. So it's literally about an even split of conviction of sure it's going to happen, not sure, and sure that the top's already in. So this speaks to the confusion that's in the market right now. And I do think that we just need to approach this with a little bit of patience, allow the next month, especially going into the next FOMC meeting, because one of the things I did want to highlight before we go, and this is where I get a little bit bullish, and I don't mean to get esoteric on you guys, but when you see charts like this and you have no idea what they mean, that's okay. But essentially what this is suggesting is a massive stress in the banking system, and they needed to tap a huge amount of liquidity. Okay. And what that suggests, if I ran it all through AI just to give the points here, it suggests some major things. It means that we could get a more aggressive 50 basis point rate cut coming in, right? It means that, we may have a little bit of near term, much like we're seeing right now, stress in the risk on, risk off mentality in the market where we're getting some chop. But likely, not forever, if the Fed cuts harder, like that 50 basis points cut, it could spark a relief rally. The question is going to be, how do the banks deal with this government shutdown? How do the interventions from the Treasury General account, they've got about $1 trillion in there now, the overnight reverse repo markets, the buybacks, all these different stealth mechanisms going on while the banks are at the most, we've seen the chart. You share it on a daily basis. That the stress we're seeing now, which is exponentially larger than we saw before the 2008 crisis, it just feels like, I don't feel like, whether you like Trump or not, I don't feel like they're going to do anything other than run the economy as hot as possible and pump, because that's what his whole premise is as a businessman. Stock market go up. And now he's overwhelmingly invested in crypto. And he says, we're going to make it work for America. Yeah, I think we got more in the tank, guys.
I do have an opinion about how it's actually going to look in 2023, March of 2023. The banking infrastructure was under a similar amount of stress. It is worth highlighting now that you're bringing it up, Kelly. So this was the time frame 2023 and that kind of peak pain where Silver Valley, a couple other banks went under. And we were at about $700 billion in unrealized losses. Yes, we have lessened that pain. We're at $400 billion losses on the books for banks. But the difference is, in that time frame, they did what's called Bank Term Funding Program. It was liquidity injection only meant for banks. It was not airdrops. It was not stimulus to the average person. It was not money given to the people to stimulate the economy. It was a Band-Aid over a bullet wound for banks in the background. Likely, in our current situation with these injections, it's going to look like something similar. And I had a question come up in the chat. I can't remember where it went, but someone asked, are we de-risking from alts? Now, my simple answer is I already have a few months back, and I consolidated heavily into Aerodrome, Morpho, Chainlink. I did take a little bit of a a risk play on Linnea recently. I think Kelly also got in on that. Kelly, how are you considering consolidating even more? Have you already consolidated? How are you approaching this current situation where alts are showing such weakness in the markets?
I consolidated down over the last 6 months. I've slowly kind of, I don't want to say trimmed, but I moved capital from some broader plays, and I've really strengthened my position in Chainlink. I did add Linnea the other day, and the market did drop, and you know what I did? I didn't cry, I didn't sulk. I said, "You're telling me I can buy this cheaper right now, son?" So I did, because I didn't have a huge position. But I added about 50% to that position, and it's dropped a little more. Oh my God. But remember, what did I say when you and I were taking that position in our Discord? For those of you that are members, if you're not, the link is in the description down below. Join us in there. We do morning streams talking about trade setups, everything going on in the market. I said, this is not a trade for me. I'm taking a position. It's sub $200 million market cap. And it's taking on integrations with things like Swift, and it's launched by one of the co-founders of Ethereum, Joe Lubin. So it's like, to me, it's like, I'll take a flyer on that. I'll wait a couple months. If it drops lower, I'll add some more.
It has indeed. Like, this is our buy spot, and this thing has been down to the right. It's consensus backed. Joe Lubin's behind it. It's got the same premise as kind of the ego play Brian Armstrong has for Coinbase ecosystem. At $165 million market cap, I actually feel like just getting a little bit more of it. This one, it's 1% of the portfolio, but I like these small risk plays. And then, it's just how I've learned to do this, right? Emotions you have to take out of the equation. I take very seriously hard-sided actual partnerships with the infrastructure of finance as we know it, mainly Swift, DTCC, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, things of that nature. When they have outward actual partnerships with a project, that matters to me. So I take interest. Now, Kelly, it's a beautiful day. I do implore everyone out there to just take a breath. Do not let your emotions control your actions. Sometimes you just need a friend, right? And you need a friend to talk to. Me and Kelly are here to conversate with you, to hear about whatever project it is that you're concerned about. We have a Discord where direct talks can happen. You can call in. We can get you on the line and get a conversation actually going. But until we actually see some confluence and some bullish return, man, it is risky business out there. If you are queasy, just be careful when you are trading. Stop losses are very much your friend in this environment, but just be careful.
Call 1-800-DISCOVER counseling.
We love you. Appreciate every single one out there. And make sure to keep your crypto on cold storage, folks, because we are in the eye of the storm and you do not want to get caught with your crypto on an exchange. We'll see you next.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.